Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Krashy, and today I want to kind of sit down and compile all my thoughts on what Pokemon Unite could be doing better, specifically for the ranked mode, into a kind of discussion video and more specifically constructive criticism. I've kind of put myself in this funny position where people often hear that I have problems with the game, and maybe I'm not always doing my best to reiterate those problems and give the solutions to them, or give my solutions to them. So I'm going to do that now. So this video is just the criticism to kind of push out in the positive way to say, hey, look, this is what I think that they could do better at. This is what I would do personally. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So more specifically, because there are plenty of things that they could change about the game, like overall, but more specifically, this is just about ranked mode and like solo queue and things of that nature. So that's kind of the perspective that we're taking for this one. So let's dive into it. So first and foremost, I think that the ranked experience for Pokemon Unite is the thing that adds a lot of replayability to the game, right? Like if you're just playing standards over and over and over again, quick play over and over again, the burnout will hit a little bit faster because you're not really achieving anything. You're not really getting anything out of it. So that's why I think that ranked systems are so incredibly important, to have really good systems and like be operating really cleanly, because you need that replayability, that replay value, to keep the game interesting, on top of adding in new content. So the content that they add to the game is actually phenomenal. I love the release schedule, I love the new map, I love the designs they do, but we need that system that keeps people playing the game. So first and foremost, for ranked, the biggest thing that needs to happen is a solo duo ladder. Now, this is incredibly important. Now, here's why. A solo duo ladder, in my opinion, I'm going to go a little bit aggressive here, is vastly far more important than a 5-stack ladder, or what we kind of have now is a flex queue. For flex queue, it means that there's not just one group size that works, or one or two group sizes that works. It's multiple sizes. You can queue and ranked with solo, duo, trio, or 5-stack, so it's more flexible, so it's a flex queue. I think that having a solo duo, meaning you could queue by yourself or with one friend, is vastly more important to the game's longevity and to the health of the game long term, over having a flex queue or a 5-stack queue, because of the nature of how most people play games. Most people just hop on and queue. Most people will maybe have a friend they jump in and queue with. Most players are, and I don't have statistics to back this up, obviously, but I would bet my life that most players are not queuing with 3-stack plus on the majority of the player base, like for the majority of the player base. So the reason why I say that a solo duo queue is so important is because it gives that replay value, that reason to play the game, to the vast majority of the player base, to the people that are playing the game. So I say that I think it's more important than a flex queue. That does not mean that a flex queue or a team queue isn't valuable. I guess in a perfect world, assuming we have enough players, because that has to be something you have to consider as well. Assuming we have the player base for it, the best thing they could do is have a 5-stack queue and a solo duo queue. Now, I know what you're thinking. That would not leave room for queuing with 4. We don't have that now. It doesn't leave room with queuing for 3, but queuing with 3 people in ranked is kind of too strong. It's like, 3/5 of the team, you have a lot of control, and the reason they don't let us queue with 4 is because then you have control over the surrender vote. So I think that a solo duo queue where you can queue by yourself and queue with a friend, and a 5-stack queue would be idealistic, or a solo duo queue only. Now, why do we need this per se? Well, if you play the game currently, if you're a high-rated player or a good player, if you're not playing in a 5-stack, you can't rank. Like, you can't really rank super high. You'll never make the top 100 list. So while it is possible to climb, shout out to Chris Heroes, it is definitely possible to climb and rank high and to consistently grind and things. It's impossible to make it to, like, say, top 100 as a solo queue player. Like, he'll just never do it. Like, unless everybody else stops playing and he just grinds really hard and goes crazy, it's basically impossible. So a solo duo queue and a solo duo ladder, an entirely separate ranked mode, is really important for the replay value, and that's why I bring it up so much. It's actually the most important thing that they need to fix, on top of some of the other things on this list. It's all about that replay value. It's all about giving me a reason to get on. It's all about giving me that feeling of accomplishment because I'm doing well, or because I'm able to see my progress, and I think that's really important. So solo duo queue, incredibly important. Now, that's not the only issue with the ranked mode. The ranked mode has a kind of quality issue, right? The matches that you get are not very great. It's the matchmaking meets the system. And so let's talk a little bit about the matchmaking, just a little bit, and then we're going to circle back to it. My main issue with the matchmaking, or one of my main issues with the matchmaking, is the party sizes. Without a solo duo queue, when you queue solo in the flex queue that we have currently, you can get into, double duo queues. You can get into 3 stacks. You can get into, you know what I mean? Like it's just all over the place. Like me being a solo player, I just want to play with other solo, maybe duo players, but getting against, like a 3 stack, they just control the whole game. They build like a core comp and you have to kind of like build and play with it. But it's not a really like easy thing to operate with, right? Like you have to just kind of play with them, and it puts you in this weird position where you're a little bit forced. So it's just not ideal. So a solo duo would obviously be the best, and it would be a little bit more in your control. So that's my main issue, or one of the main issues with the matchmaking itself. The other issue with the matchmaking is just the variety of skill that's all over the place. Like there's just some good players, some bad players, but that's mostly because of the rank system. So that's why I said I want to put a pin in that, and let's circle around to the matchmaking in just a bit as we talk about the rank system itself. So first and foremost, a rank system. What is a rank system? Like actually define what it is. Well, in my mind, it's a test of skill. But not just a test of skill in a singular match, it's a test of skill through your consistency. So this is why win rate matters, right? If you are constantly being tested every single game, the reality is that in order to be viewed as a good player, you need to be winning the majority of your games, right? That's what, positive win rate above 50%, negative win rate below 50%. So to be viewed statistically as a good player, you need to have a positive win rate, which means in a rank system, you would ideally have a rank system that requires you to have a positive win rate in order to climb. Now, here's the thing. As you reach harder and harder skill tiers, right? As you get closer and closer to the people of your skill level, that win rate is going to climb down because you're now beating and playing against people and losing to people that are at your same skill level. So you need to have a positive win rate to climb that will taper off as you are more secure in your rank. And right now, we all know that you can basically negative win rate yourself to masters. It takes a long time, but it is possible. It's not uncommon for us to see masters players that have negative win rates, 48%, 45%, etc. And that simply just shouldn't happen. So first and foremost, how you fix that problem is you eliminate performance points for ranking up. So anything between like beginner to ultra, you just wipe out performance points. No more forgiveness for things, no more extra little bits of points and things like that. It needs to be just a basic, did you win or did you lose? Now, here's the thing. When you tell people that, they always have the rebuttal of, well, what about bad teams and blah, 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 blah. Again, the ranking system is not a measurement of skill in one match, but a measurement of skill through consistency over many, many matches. So if you have a bad game, it's not a big deal. It's one bad game. If you have a bad team, it's not a big deal. It's one bad team. And everybody deals with the same thing that you do. Everybody has the same opportunity to play with the same players. So it really is completely fair. So yeah, so we need more than 50% win rate to climb. Now, this is where it would take a little bit of testing from the developers, and I don't have concrete thoughts on this. I think that if you're hovering 50% win rate and you haven't made it to masters, you should be somewhere like near veteran. Like the early ranks, like beginner, great, and stuff like that, those can be the onboarding ranks where it's like you can kind of lose your way up them a little bit. That's totally fine. Give players, let players get their feet wet with the ranking system. But as you start getting closer and closer to veteran and ultra, it's going to start requiring more and more consistency to climb. Like you have to truly win those matches. So if you wanted to keep that performance point system for onboarding, you could leave it below veteran maybe. But once you hit veteran, it's like you just need to start knocking out wins or you're not going to climb, right? You need to win, boom, 2-3 games in a row and then lose one. You need to win, boom, 2-3-4 games in a row and then lose 1 or 2. It's not about being able to just grind your way to the highest rank anymore. And then once you're in masters, same thing. Like the way that the points are actually divvied up, it needs to be based on the team average, which is much more ELO focused. And I don't want to dive into how an ELO system works. You can do some research on that if you'd like. But the point gain and the point loss for winning in masters needs to be very, very close to about the exact same number with small variances. So that way it requires consistency to climb. And now that's where it circles back into matchmaking, because if these systems work, if this ranked mode works where you're playing with people of your similar skill, then ideally you would have fair games, right? Games where you're actually playing with people that are on about the same level as you, and so it wouldn't feel so bad. And yeah, you're going to lose, and yeah, someone's going to make stupid decisions and it's going to feel bad, but that's what it actually needs. So my core thoughts on fixing the ranked mode or making the ranked mode better, giving this constructive criticism, is that they need to add a solo duo ladder to incentivize the majority of the player base. Maybe keep a 5-stack ladder too. Sure, that's totally fine. They need to make the rank system harder. This is the TLDR, what I just basically said. Make it require more consistency. That's what the ranking system is all about, testing you over time. Require positive win rates to climb through veteran, positive win rates to climb through ultra, and then a positive win rate to make it to masters, and then a positive win rate if you want to climb in masters, because you need to consistently be winning your matches. And then with that needs to be paired with much better matchmaking, and that's from party size. Again, solo duo only would only be solo duos. That comes with the rank disparity. You should not be a masters player queuing with a veteran player. In my opinion, it should only be within the same rank. If you're masters, you can queue with masters. If you're veteran, you can queue with veteran. If you're ultra, you can queue with ultra. And with masters, they might even need to make skill brackets for the points, like plus or minus 500 points, 400 points, something like that. And then the matchmaking itself, who gets into your games, needs to be a little bit tighter too, but we kind of covered that. When it comes to masters, that's where it gets a little bit more specific, because you need like a point ratio, like a point range, maybe up to 500 points. That's pretty generous. And then in my opinion, I always forget this one. I think that we should not be starting masters at 1200. I think that we should be starting it at like 200, 300 with the ability to lose it. Again, ranking systems are about testing you. It's not about giving you a reward because you showed up. It's about testing how good you are. So you can earn it, but you should be able to lose it. So in my opinion, solo duo queue, much more consistency required to climb, meaning a positive win rate, better matchmaking in terms of who all can you queue with because of the skill range, what ranks you're playing with, and party sizes based on the solo duo ladder, and then starting masters at a much lower point with the risk of losing it because you weren't performing well. These ranking systems are meant to test us, and that's what I would love to see. So friends, those are my thoughts on the ranking system, how they could improve the ranking system to deliver my constructive criticism. And I'm sure there's some flaws, right? There's no such thing as a perfect system, but it's about creating an ecosystem of skill and achievement and like needing to improve, because that's what it's all about. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I would love to hear it. I would definitely appreciate it if you would drop a like and subscribe to the channel for future Pokemon Unite content. As always, friends, be sure to be kind to one another. Tell someone you love them, and I'll see you on the next video.